Hi everyone, can you guys see me and hear me? Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I think you guys should be able to see my screen, but feel free to let me know if there are any issues throughout the webinar. Yeah, so hi everyone, welcome to today's pre-market live analysis. I'm Melanie and I'll be a speaker for today. Okay, so as per usual, just a disclaimer, and take note of some risk warning as well. So here's today's agenda. We're going to start off by focusing on some FX majors, followed by analysis on commodities, crypto, and indices. But all of these are custom requests, so feel free to just let me know if you guys have any questions or requests in the chat. Okay, so I'm Melanie and I'll be a speaker for today. I'm an investment analyst at Rocket, who are finalists for Best FX and Equity Research in the years 2019 to 2021. We specialize in technical analysis with a focus on Fibonacci retracements, extensions, and projections. Okay, so let me just pull out my oh yes, we'll start off by looking at this week's fundamental events. Hmm. Oh wait. Hmm. Wait, could you guys see my slides? That's so weird. Um, yeah, I don't think my slides moved. Just give me 1 second. Hmm. Okay, that's really weird because I'm obviously changing my slides, but it's not showing up on the screen. It's just showing the cover page. Okay, let me see what I can do about this. Oh, nope. Hmm. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, did you guys see my slides change? I think yes, we're on the disclaimer slide now. So again, this is the disclaimer page. Take note and some risk warnings as well. And here's today's agenda. We're focusing on FX majors, but feel free to let me know if there are any requests on commodities, crypto, and indices. I'm Melanie, and I'll be a speaker for today. Yeah, so here is all of the slides that I was explaining earlier. And yeah, let me pull out my Forex factory and then we can go ahead and look at our charts after. Okay, so there are a ton of economic calendars on the market, so feel free to choose whichever you're more comfortable using. We just normally prefer to use Forex Factory. So this is what it looks like when you first go into the page. So instead of the default, I think is the today's date, but since we're looking at this week, 25th to 29th, apply settings, and you can see I have it filtered to only focus on the orange and red icon events from this green filter button. So yeah, orange is medium, red is high impact, but you can look at the low impact as well, which is the yellow icon, as well as any non-economic events, which are just this gray icon here. You can also filter out any event types that you're not particularly interested in, or any currencies that you're not trading as well. I just typically prefer to have them all ticked. Okay, so you can see we have a lot more events to cover. So that's why we normally will just focus on the um, medium to high impact events. Okay, so for this week, on Monday, we have Kiwi retail sales. Eurozone, we have German business climate. Tuesday, we don't really have anything. Wednesday, we have the S&P CS Composite 20 HPI year-on-year data. We also have CB Consumer Confidence, New Home Sales, Richmond Manufacturing Index. And then for Australia, we have CPI year-on-year data as well, which is inflationary data. And it's expected to go up to 2.5%, up from a previous 2.1. Kiwi official cash rate is expected to drop to 4.25%, down from previous 4.75. Monetary policy statement from the RBNZ. We also have the US preliminary GDP data, unemployment claims, core durable goods orders, price index, US Chicago PMI, core PCE price index, pending home sales, crude oil inventories, FOMC meeting minutes. We also have German preliminary CPI data and Spanish flash CPI, and Australia's RBA Gov Bullock will be speaking. And then on Friday, we have Japan or Tokyo core CPI data, which is expected to go up to 2.0%, up from previous 1.8. We also have Swiss GDP and Eurozone CPI data. Okay, and that's all for this week's major events. So yeah, so it's important to take note of these timings of the really high impact events, because oftentimes these will have a bigger impact on your charts, in the minute that the data is released. Okay, let me just pull up my charts. I see a couple of requests in the chat, so we will go ahead and cover them one by one. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so let's start off by looking at dxy. Let me just double check that you guys can all see my charts. Yep, okay, should be fine. Okay, so I'd like to start off by looking at our weekly time frame first, just so we get an idea of the direction that prices are headed towards. So on our weekly time frame, we can see prices moving pretty bullish, very much in an uptrend here. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with our support and resistance levels first. This will be my first support. Okay, and then for my first resistance, um, excuse me. Okay, maybe here. So I'm putting it here because we have a bunch of swing lows and swing highs that are respecting this area. So this is also what we call an overlap level. And my second support, maybe just below here. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm gonna go in with our Fibonacci levels to support these horizontal levels and maybe even look for some other significant levels as well. So my 23.6 retracement lines up nicely with my first support. Okay, my 50% and my 61.8 both line up nicely with my first resistance and first support as well. And next, I'm going in with a projection. Okay, so my 78.6 lines up nicely, my 100% as well. So when it comes to Fibonacci levels, they don't have to line up exactly in line with your horizontal levels. Just as long as it's kind of close to that level, that's good enough because we are looking more so for areas, confluence areas more so than specific levels. So confluence areas are basically levels where two or more Fibonacci levels line up. So you can see our first resistance and our first support both are confluence areas already, which is great because prices tend to be attracted to these areas but might not be able to push past it. Okay, so for example, over here we have a 100% projection that lines up nicely with my second support. It should be second. Okay, but since price has already broken out of that level, we can't use it anymore. Okay. So let's see if we have any other levels. Okay, I think we might have a Nike tick here as well. Okay, yeah. So for Nike tick, um, this is the shape that we're looking at. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a Nike tick. So the head of your tick, um, obviously should be shorter than the tail. So the tail just has to exceed 100% of that retracement. And the levels that we're looking at for this method are the 127 as well as the 161.8. Okay, and you can see that they both line up nicely. And in fact, where price is currently at, it's currently testing the 127 level. Okay. Um. Okay. So I'll just keep the 127 and the 161. Okay, so you can see our first resistance is a huge confluence area here. And it's quite a big resistance area as well. So we do normally recommend you to follow the direction of price, unless there are pretty um compelling reasons why you think there might be a price reversal. So here we are expecting prices to continue in this uptrend towards our first resistance. Okay, and now we can pull out some indicators to support our analysis. I like to start off with Ichimoku and MACD because at one glance you can tell exactly what the signals are. So here with Ichimoku, price is moving above the cloud, so it's giving us a bullish signal. MACD is also giving us a bullish signal here, as you can see. Okay, maybe we go in with Bollinger Bands as well. Okay, prices are pushing above this upper band, that red line, so that's also giving us a bullish signal. Let's maybe look at some momentum indicators. Let's look at both EMA and SMA. Okay, you can see prices moving above both as well, right? So that's also giving us a bullish signal. RSI, stochastic. You can see prices definitely moving in an uptrend. Okay, we have prices moving in a bit of a trend line here on our stochastic. Let's see if it's the same. Okay, yeah. We have that on our RSI as well. Okay, so overall very bullish indicators as well. So they also, all of our indicators support our analysis. Okay, any questions? I'll pause here for a second before we move on to our next one. Okay, no questions. Let's move on to the next chart. Yeah, we can take a look at gold. Let me just save this chart. Okay, I hope it's saved. Next, let's go ahead and look at gold. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, you can see prices kind of dropping. But in recent times, there has been a bit of a reversal upwards, like we see here on our daily time frame. Okay, so now I'm going in with our horizontal levels. Okay, so I'm just gonna be placing my first resistance up here at the swing high. Okay, and then for my first support, for my first support, I'm just gonna place it at this overlap level again. And for my second support, just here. Okay, now I'm going in with my Fibonacci levels again. Oh wait, okay, so for my Fibonacci levels, we actually can't, um, we can't use any of these levels, except for this 50% here. Okay, so I'll just KIV this first for now. Reason being, because price is already broken out of that level, except for the 50%. So only that level is valid for now. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go in with retracement again. Okay, no. Gonna go in with projections. Okay, I'm trying to find out why my trading view is kind of laggy. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing that as well. But yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm also gonna be placing a first resistance or second resistance up here above that swing high. Here you can see it's in line with the 161.8 as well. Okay, let's see if we have any other levels. I think that actually might be it. Yep. Okay, so again, we are going to follow the overall trend, which is that prices have definitely been moving upwards. So we'll go in first towards our first resistance, and then if price breaks out of that, then we'll proceed to go on with our second resistance. So again, starting off with these two indicators, prices are moving above the cloud, so they are giving us a bullish signal. MACD, you can see, is also giving us a slight bullish signal there. Let's look at Bollinger Bands. Okay, that's not really telling us much here. RSI, stochastic. Okay, we can all see this rebound here recently. Okay, yeah, but these both don't really tell us much other than that prices have been increasing. Um, let's also look at our moving averages, SMA and EMA. Okay, and you can see prices recently crossed over. Let me zoom in. Yeah, recently crossed over both of our moving averages, so that's also a bullish signal. Okay. Okay. Um. Oh, we have a question. Would you say gold is overvalued? Um, I think that's very mixed feelings about that. Um, I would say yes because you can see obviously gold the prices of gold will rise during economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions. So especially with rising inflation. So we also see the prices of gold going up as a safe haven asset. But there are some sources that say that it's not. Um, yeah, I think ultimately we just have to look at previous prices as well. Yeah, because there are people who think that it might continue to rise because of the ongoing economic uncertainties as well. So yeah. I think if you're looking at using gold as a kind of like a safe haven asset, against inflation, um, especially with um CPI, the data coming out, you can look at um it can indicate that the price of gold has deviated significantly from what would be expected if it was a perfect inflation hedge. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, there's kind of mixed opinions on it. Okay. Let me see. Okay, we'll look at euro dollar next. What do you guys think though? Like, do you guys think that gold is currently overvalued? Okay. Yeah, let me know in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and start euro dollar now. And then we'll go ahead and look at dollar franc after this. Okay, so on a weekly time frame with euro dollar, prices have been dropping. That's clear on our daily time frame as well. Okay, this is my first support. Now my second support over here, and then my first resistance. Maybe up here. Okay, so now I'm going in with my Fibonacci levels again. So my 78, okay, my 100% lines up. Let me zoom in a bit. My 100% lines up with my first support. Even though the 78 is kind of close to the first resistance, price has already broken out of that level, so we can't use it anymore. So I'm just going to keep the 100%. I'm also going in with a retracement. Here you can kind of see the 23.6 is quite close to the first resistance, so I'm going to keep that as well. Okay, my 161.8 projection lines up with my first support. Another retracement, my 50% lines up. 61.8 is quite close to the second support, so I'll just keep both. Okay, I think we might have a Nike-tick shape here as well. In this case, it's kind of an inverted Nike-tick shape. So my 161 lines up nicely. My 127 price has already broken out of that level, so it's no longer valid. Okay, so I'll just keep the 161. Okay, now let's look at our indicators. So again, prices are moving in a downtrend, so we are going to follow the general trend. So we're expecting prices to continue to drop here. But just take note, just take note of this horizontal line here. Reason being, we have a 161 as well as a retracement level that line up with this level here. So I'm just labeling it kind of as an intermediate support level. Yeah, just to take note of that. Okay, so again, going in with our indicators, prices are moving below the cloud, so it's giving us a bearish signal. MACD is also giving us a bearish signal there. EMA and SMA, let's take a look. Okay, prices are moving below the indicators, so that's also a bearish signal. Let's look at Bollinger Bands. Okay, you can see prices pushing below that lower band, so also a bearish signal. Okay, maybe we can look at RSI and stochastic as well. Okay, with prices moving in a descending trend line, that's also giving us a bearish signal. Okay, on our RSI as well. And they're all moving into the oversold regions as well, if you can see here. on our stochastic and RSI. I'm just curious to know, because I normally use, all of these indicators for all of the webinars. So do you guys also use these indicators, or are there other indicators that you guys like to use as well? Just let me know in the chat. Okay. Lastly, or maybe not lastly, but the last request I have is dollar franc. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out that chart. Excuse me. Okay. So on our dollar franc, let's look at our weekly time frame. You can see prices rising. Daily time frame as well. Okay. So now I'm gonna go in with our horizontal levels again. I'm gonna place my first support here. First resistance, maybe at this swing high. Okay, and it's also an overlap level. My second support just over here. Okay, my 78 and 61 both line up. Let's look at our projections. 78, 61, again, they both line up as well. Okay, actually, so these 261 levels, even though they do line up with our first support, they're not really valid because price has already broken out of it. But I'm just gonna leave it because I just want it there for reference. Okay, but just take note that price has already broken out of that level, so it's not valid anymore. I think maybe let's look at a retracement here. Okay, my 23.6 lines up with my second support. Okay, I think that's all the levels we have. Yeah, I think so. So now let's look at our indicators again. Okay, prices moving above the cloud. MACD giving us a bullish signal as well. Let's look at Bollinger Bands. Okay, we have prices pushing above that upper band as well. So that's also a bullish signal. Let's see if we have prices moving in an ascending trend line. Okay, yep. We also see this trend line here, I think. Yeah, we have prices moving in ascending trend lines on both. So that's also bullish. Let's see. other trading view indicators that have multi-level functioning. Would that be like pivot points? Or what other indicators would that be? Like the pivot points. I guess pivot points, we would normally use that for looking at multiple levels as well. Just kind of identify some support and resistance levels. Or ADX, the average directional index. Those are all I can think of at the top of my head. Let me see. Oh, show strength and volume. Okay. Okay. Do you have any news about the VIP server? Um, I actually am not too sure about that. Yeah, so I can check with him again. Is this the VIP server that's on Genesis? Okay, I don't currently have much updates on that because I'm stationed in Sydney currently. So I'm not too sure, but I can double check with him if there are any updates. The next webinar for IC should be, I think, tomorrow evening. So hopefully by then I can, or whoever is doing the webinar will be able to get back to you. Okay? Um, yeah, are there any other questions? Any other requests? Okay, if not, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you guys found this session helpful. And yeah, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys again next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Okay, my camera is kind of frozen. So in case like my face isn't moving, that's why. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys again next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.